Friends, filing of Gstr 3B has been made more complicated from July 2022, and now by issuance of circular 170, it is mandatory to understand the correct form of filing of Gstr 3B as a wrong disclosure or a wrong disclosure may lead to departmental action. So, let us understand this circular 170 slowly and steadily so that we understand the correct way to file Gstr 3B from 20th of July 2022 itself, because this is a circular and shall be immediately made applicable. First and most important is to record the place of supply correctly in Gstr 1 and Gstr 3B. So, it is important that you record the place of supply correctly in your own ERP systems and invoices. I will tell you the thumb rule. In case of services, please do not take a chance and please go through section 10, 11, 12 and 13 of the IGST Act. In case of any confusion, while the thumb rule remains that the place of the recipient of the service is the place of supply, yet in case of different services, there may be different place of supply rules, and therefore it is important to go through these sections. In case of goods, I am giving you a thumb rule which one must follow in all cases, and more importantly in bill to ship to cases, because those transactions would be the most impacted for wrong disclosure of place of supply. In case of B2B transactions, bill to ship to or any, it is the bill to state which is the place of supply, and in case of B2C transactions, it is the ship to state which is the place of supply. I will not go into the integrities of the sections and the rules in this context, but it is important that we build in this logic in our systems. Please note that in case you disclose the wrong place of supply, then the division of the GST revenue between the center and the various states may be faulted, and correspondingly you might be impacted with a penal or other action. Now we will go one by one, slowly and steadily, on the various provisions you need to take care while filing the GSTR 3B, which is ensuing for the month of June 2022 to be filed in July 2022. Most important, there has been a sea change in disclosure of input tax credit in table 4A, 4B, 4D of GSTR 3B. First, disclosure of ineligible ITC, most important. Please understand very clearly, because it would involve a sea change in this month's and correspondingly going forward filing of 3B. In case you have an ineligible credit in GSTR 2B, it would be auto populated in GSTR 3B. For example, if you have purchased certain food and beverages and that credit is appearing in table 4A5, that is all other ITC of your GSTR 3B, then as of now many of the taxpayers just remove that element and file the 4A5 table with the net figure other than the ineligible ITC. From July, you need to disclose that ineligible ITC also in table 4A5, and thereafter you have to reverse it in table 4B1. So, all the ineligible ITC including construction services, works contract services, club charges, etc., under 17.5 or any other provisions which would be auto-populated in your GSTR 3B due to auto-population in GSTR 2B, that has to be retained in table 4A, and corresponding reversal has to be done in table 4B1. Similarly, for ITC which you have claimed but you have not paid the vendor within 180 days, and therefore under second provision of section 16 subsection 2 that ITC needs to be reversed. That reversal many of the taxpayers are netting it off under 4A5. Now that reversal has to be done under table 4B2. Another important thing is where, say for example, your supplier has dispatched the goods on 30th of June 2022, but you receive it on 1st of July 2022, and therefore under section 16(2) you are eligible to take the credit in July and not for the month of June. However, it would auto-populate in table 4A. You have to retain that auto-population but show a corresponding reversal in table 4B2. So, again it is important to note that table 4B1 and 4B2 are for reversals of input tax credit, yet a distinction is made as to what reversal you will do in table 4B1 and 4B2 correspondingly. In table 4B1, only the permanent reversals have to be reversed. For example, as we discussed, ineligible ITC which you will never claim in future, ITC reversed proportionately for supply of exempted as well as taxable goods under say rule 42 and 43, that has to be disclosed for banking companies under 38, that has to be disclosed in 4B1. However, temporary reversals as we discussed under that 180 days reversals under second provision to 16(2), for goods or services not received, all of these temporary reversals which can be reclaimed in future has to be disclosed under 4B2. Ineligible credit which required a disclosure, that is block credit under 17(5), which required a disclosure in table 4D1, that is not required to be disclosed now in 4D1, but in table 4D2, very important, please note, there is requirement of various other disclosures like ITC which is not claimed due to limitation period. Under section 16(4), the limitation period for financial year 21-22 is 30th of November 2022 from the date of notification, of course. So, if you receive any invoice after 30th of November 2022, then naturally you will not be able to claim the input tax credit, and that would not be auto-populated in table 4A. Therefore, you require to just for the purpose of disclosure, disclose it in table 4D2. Similarly, what we discussed, the reclamation of input tax credit under second provision to 16(2), while you reclaim that credit in table 4A5, but for the purpose of disclosure, it is mandatory to do it in 4D2. So friends, filing of GSTR 3B is going to be much much more complicated from this month onwards. It is important that corresponding amendments in your ERP systems and your GSP vendors are intimated so that there is no scrutiny initiation due to wrong filing of GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B for your corresponding taxpayers. Another important thing is that where you are supplying outward to unregistered parties, to composition dealers or to dealers with unique identifications numbers like embassies, etc., you paid the outward tax liability in table 3.1 and many a times in table 3.2 there was no disclosure of such outward tax liability. Now it is mandatory to disclose it. Place of supply wise, unregistered supply, supply to composition dealers and UIN registered dealers separately under table 3.2. It was always mandatory, but there were inconsistencies in the return filing procedure, and therefore the CBIC has issued this circular 170 so that now, since it is mandatory and it is even documented, all taxpayers should follow a consistent filing procedure to ensure that they are not inflicted with penalties, and more importantly, they are not scrutinized just for these mistakes while filing GSTR 1 and GSTR 3B returns. Please do like this channel. Please press the bell button so that you get the notifications, and do share this video, a very important one, for maximum knowledge dissemination so that we all taxpayers file our correct returns from July 2022. Thank you very much for a patient hearing.